Since 1970, almost everything got faster. More crops per farmer, more cars per worker. But one major industry went backwards. By one common measure, value added per worker, an American construction worker in 2020 produced about 40% less than in 1970, while the rest of the economy roughly doubled. Same country, better tools. Why? The short answer, construction was locked out of the escape every other industry made, the factory. And since 1970, we have quietly made the site's problems worse. Most of a working day still dies to waiting, walking, and rework, not to bad workers. Let's earn that, starting with the most honest question, is the slump even real? First, an honest objection. Some of that drop is a measurement mirage. A 2020 house counts as no more output than a 1971, though it's sealed and fire-rated to codes the older crew never met. Measured more carefully, the better-tracked corners even show some growth. But here's the save. Count physical things. Square feet of house per worker. Homes finished per worker. Those raced ahead until about 1970, then stalled, while cars per worker kept climbing. You can't blame that on accounting. And the two numbers fit together. Value a worker adds, once everything a modern build must carry is paid for, fell further. So the verdict isn't that construction produces nothing. It's that for 50 years it has strangely trailed the rest of the economy. That's real. And it isn't only America. Worldwide, over 2 decades, construction productivity grew about 1% a year, while manufacturing grew about 3.6%. You settle that gap not in a spreadsheet, but on a site. So walk onto a real site, a 6-story block going up, and on it, 2 skilled workers with one job, install a single exterior wall panel, framed, insulated, wired, clad. Give them a full 8-hour day, booked the way a planner books hours, and treat this as one ordinary day, not a statistic. The shared tower crane serving every trade on the job costs 90 minutes of waiting. An hour vanishes, tearing out a corner framed off last week's drawing, revised Tuesday, nobody told the field. 20 minutes each way to the laydown yard for the right fixings. Another hour dies when the crew hits a detail the drawings don't resolve and raises a formal query back to the designers, a request for information, and waits. Then a squall, half an hour sheltering. Hands actually on the wall, about 3 of the 8 hours. That is low productivity, on the ground. Not lazy workers, good workers stranded by the system around them. Now build that same wall on a factory line, indoors. Same drawing, same skill, same panel at the end. At a fixed station, the lifting gear is already overhead, and every part is kitted within arm's reach. The drawing is built into the jig, so the wrong revision can't be built. The unresolved detail was resolved before the line ever ran, and the weather is a roof. Wait, walk, rework, query, squall, gone. Factories have their own bad days, but they're smaller and rarer. Same wall, same skill. The factory didn't hire better workers. It deleted the site's losses. The hours the site bleeds and the factory never spends, that's the gap. Hours you can count. So why not build everything this way? Start with the 4 walls that were always there. A building is bespoke, nearly a prototype each time, so the factory's trick of repeating one product never starts. It's fixed in place, built outdoors where it will stand, in the weather. And the work is fragmented, a relay of subcontractors, each with its own incentives, and the schedule bleeds in the handoffs. Those walls stood in 1972. What changed is what grew on top of them. The rules multiplied, and they keep projects and firms small, so the scale that makes factories cheap is now harder to reach than ever. And the buildings themselves got more complex, more codes, more custom, more coordination, so every handoff carries more ways to lose an hour. The walls were always there. We raised them. That's why factories can take some of this work, never all of it. Still, some places reach higher. In Sweden, most detached homes are built largely from factory parts. In Japan, firms like Sexui build houses on assembly lines, the way Toyota builds cars. Where a market is dense enough to feed a factory, the gap really shrinks. But it's no magic. The savings are famously elusive, and Katerra, a startup that raised a fortune to industrialize American building, collapsed trying to scale too fast. The limits are real. The shortcut isn't. So, one line to carry. Construction didn't fall behind because workers got worse. It fell behind because the site was locked out of the factory's escape, and then we made the site harder. More rules keeping projects small, more complexity in every handoff, while the day still fills with waiting, walking, and rework. Close the gap where a factory can reach. Respect the site where it can't. A house will never quite be a car.